What's up, everybody? This is Jude from Section 122 on ArgosEndzone.com. It's time for Week 17 action as the Argos host the Calgary Stampeders at a neutral site game, Tim Hortons Field in Hamilton. As always, you can click the See More button down below on the YouTube channel, jump to the chapter you want to see. We'll get things started with a look back at Part 2 from Week 16. Playing for the second time during Week 16, the Argos traveled to Montreal to take on the Alouettes. It was Monday during Thanksgiving. It was Monday afternoon, so it was a perfect time while everybody was getting dinner ready to be sitting down enjoying a football game. But what you saw was Trevor Harris starting to rack up those most outstanding player numbers as he continues to just roll along, clicking on this offense. Great opening drive by the Argos in its entirety. You saw that balance was just starting to creep into the offensive game, with Brandon Whitaker getting a couple more touches. This guy right here actually said to keep an eye on him this past week, and he ended up being the top offensive player. Got the offensive game ball for the Argos after the game was all said and done. What you also saw was the defense really bring a lot of noise. The linebacking core blitzing, which I've been begging for all year. You're starting to see a seven-man rush, which has been a lot of fun as the defensive secondary has become a lot more reliable in terms of being able to shut down the offense through the air. You're starting to see things come together. It's been fun watching this roll. So the Argos came out on top, third straight win, which is also their third straight win against an Eastern opponent. So this is boding really well for tiebreakers. Granted, they still got to completely separate themselves from the Hamilton Ticats, as Hamilton has that tiebreaker. But with just the one more game against Montreal and sweeping Ottawa, things are looking well for the Blue. Week 17 brings the Calgary Stampeders to town, which of course means we show our respect and love for the Calgary Outriders. Like that. And when I say to town, I don't mean Toronto, as the Argos will be hosting from Tim Hortons Field in Hamilton. Three guesses how Ticat fans feel about the Argos playing a home game in Hamilton. It happens. Look, it's going to get better next year, okay? It's going to get better next year. And while we're talking about it, the reason it is happening, a tip of the cap to the Blue Jays, as they're now in the American League Championship Series, taking on the Kansas City Royals. A little retribution from 1985, eh? What do you say? But back to the football then. So Calgary made a big splash at the trade deadline acquiring Jerome Messam. The Canadian running back is second in the league in rushing and I believe he leads all running backs in receiving yardage. He's a truck. It's scary what that guy gets when he starts rolling. He's very, very difficult to stop. It was revealed after the trade happened that John Cornish, the starting running back for the Calgary Stampeders, will not be playing this week as he's still recovering from, I believe it's a neck injury. Now, when both of them are healthy, that's a terrifying prospect. But, I mean, on his own, Messam is going to have an impact in this game. You're going to have to see the Argos front seven be very aware of him when Calgary has the ball. At the same time, you still have Bo Levi Mitchell, who just wins games. He's not going to put up huge numbers, but he doesn't make mistakes. And so the Argos have got to make sure that he doesn't hurt them. And they've got a most outstanding player candidate at receiver, Rogers, I believe it is, who's a game breaker. Now, the Argos defense, as I said previous, has shown a lot of improvement both in their ability to rush the passer and in coverage. They're winning those turnover battles. They are actually 8-0 when they win the turnover battle. So keep an eye out to see if they can make anything happen there. When the Argos are on offense, of course, it all starts and ends with most outstanding player candidate Trevor Harris, who's moving the ball very, very well. He's not afraid to go downfield and go deep. And what you're seeing is there's no number one receiver right now, which is not a slight against anybody. It's more about Harrison's ability to move the ball around and finding the open man. It's a very, very difficult offensive scheme against from a defensive standpoint because you take away the deep pass, he hits the guys underneath that make yardage happen. You come in tight, and he throws that deep corner route a la Ricky Ray, mentoring under the master. Very, very difficult to game plan against, which has been fun for us Argos fans watching this offense gel together as Harris is just lighting it up. So what we're talking about is that this, as I say every week, this has potential to be a very exciting game. For the double blue on offense, I want you to keep an eye on Trevor Harris, number 7. Obviously, it starts and ends with the quarterback in this league to begin with. But as the most outstanding player talk is starting to build and the team is starting to roll, we're going to see how he deals with that, along with the fact that Ricky Ray is being reported as being close to coming back to 100%. Harris has said from the beginning that Ricky Ray is the starter for this team and he's the placeholder. However, it would seem to be a huge mistake to make that switch at quarterback at this point in the season. So I honestly think that this is Harris' position to lose throughout the rest of this regular season and into the playoffs. However, knowing that he's there, along with the talk and the pressure, we'll see how young Trevor Harris deals with being under the microscope. And this will be a big game for it. On defense, I'm looking at Cleon Lang, defensive lineman. The interior is going to dictate how this game plays out because you're going to need a team rush that's collapsing the pocket, not giving Mitchell a chance to make his reads, and you've got to blow up those run blockers so you can try to stop messing before he starts getting the momentum driving forward. And that's going to start in the middle. So I'm looking at number 90, Cleon Lang, on defense, making a big impact. He's got to make a big impact this week for the Argos to come out on top. When it comes to the prediction, the math says Calgary comes out 27-23 based on the numbers of what both teams have put up and stopped from being put up, offense and defense respectively. We've had this conversation, right? I'm not betting against the Argos ever. So based on what we've seen Toronto do the last couple of weeks, where they've been able to pile up the points on offense, Calgary coming off the struggle against Edmonton, let's say that this is a 31-21 Argos win today. Good. 31-21. Yeah, check back at the end of the game. Let's see how close I got. Since the Argos are going to be the home team on the road in Hamilton this week, we're going to go with a trash tag, and we're going to call it Donut Box Visit. All right? The nickname for Tim Hortons Field is the Donut Box, and since we're visiting Tim Hortons Field, all right, you see where I'm going. So what we're looking for is things like bringing an extra set of pants to burn after sitting in the seats, or more blue flags to cover up all of the ugly yellow and black, or along those lines, all right? So hit us up at Argos End Zone using the trash tag Donut Box Visit, and let's see who's got the best one out there. Heck, I only came up with 2. I got faith in you. That'll wrap things up for another week. Hope you had some fun. As always, comment, like, share, have some fun with this. Follow us on social media. We're on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Got any suggestions for any other social media we should be on? Should be experimenting with Periscope? Maybe Snapchat pre- or post-game? Let us know. And as we're moving forward with the game, make sure you're listening to Argos All Access. Argos broadcaster Mike Hogan does a weekly hour-long show, which is a recap of the previous week with in-person interviews of both players, coaches, personnel, and other sports people in the know, talking about the Argos. This past week's episode was great as they were talking with former Argo Chris Schultz, who, of course, is legendary on the TSN broadcast panel. Schultz played for the Argos back when they first moved into the Dome in '89, and he even commented saying that during the Jays' long World Series runs of '92 and '93, the Argos were playing at the time and were in fact practicing at the Dome, basically saying that there's not an issue that they got to have a lot of time for reconfiguration. He basically called out the Rogers Center and said this is bull, and a tip of the cap to Mr. Schultz, who will definitely call it a shovel, if you know what I'm getting at there. So, again, very happy for the Jays, but the Argos need a home of their own. That's just the way it is. Thanks again, Rogers, for being dicks about the whole thing. So, Argos home game happening in Hamilton. I'm hoping that the Argos cheer will be there because I'm overdue to pick up my calendar. Grab yours, which the proceeds will help the ladies get to Winnipeg for the Grey Cup, and we want to support our double blue in every way, shape, and form that we possibly can leading up to that. Because, hey, the Argos are rolling at the right time. Even Jim Barker had mentioned it's kind of like 2012 as slow start, gel, start to roll. It's kind of peaking at the right time, wouldn't you say? So, Saturday, 4 o'clock, Hamilton. Just screw right by us. Slip right by the Dome. Because there's nothing happening there. There's literally nothing happening at the Dome on Saturday. And we've gone through this. So, until next time, this is Drew from Section 122 and ArgosEndzone.com. Reminding you that we ride the rail, and we ride it hard. Pull together till the